4 years, 32 nations, one dream. The FIFA World Cup, the greatest sporting spectacle on planet Earth. From the sun-soaked stadiums of Italy to the electric streets of Germany, join us as we relive the most unforgettable chapters in World Cup history. From 1990 to 2006, Italy, 1990, the 14th FIFA World Cup. 24 nations descended upon the land of football passion. But this tournament would become infamous, not just for its legends, but for its drama, its tension, and its tears. West Germany was on a mission, battling through a tough bracket, eliminating opponents one by one on their march to glory. FIFA Cameroon, appearing in just their second World Cup, shocked the world, beating Argentina in the opening match. No African nation had ever made it to the quarter-finals before. They became the tournament's fairy tale. Meanwhile, a legend named Diego Maradona carried Argentina on his back once more, pushing them all the way to the final. But it was West Germany who stood tallest. In a scrappy, tense final, Andreas Bremer's penalty in the 85th minute sealed a 1-0 victory over Argentina. West Germany lifted the trophy, 115 goals across 52 matches in a tournament the world would never forget. Historical soccer coach Franz Beckenbauer, who had won the World Cup as a player in 1974, became one of the very few men in history to win it as both captain and manager. 1994, USA, the beautiful game comes to America. 1994, the World Cup crossed the Atlantic, landing on American soil for the very first time. Few believed soccer could work in the United States. They were wrong. The tournament ran from June 17th to July 17th, across 9 venues in the United States. Despite soccer's relative lack of popularity in the host nation, it became the most financially successful World Cup in history, shattering attendance records with over 3.5 million fans and an average of nearly 69,000 per match. FIFA introduced game-changing rules, awarding 3 points for a win, relaxing the offside rule, and banning goalkeepers from picking up back passes. The result? More goals, more action, more excitement. Russia's Oleg Salenko made history, scoring 5 goals in a single game against Cameroon. In that same match, 42-year-old Roger Milla scored for Cameroon, becoming the oldest player ever to score in a World Cup. It all came down to Brazil versus Italy in the final, a rematch of the classic 1970 showdown. But this time, silence. The 1994 final was the first, and to this day, the only, goalless final in World Cup history. Brazil defeated Italy 3-2 in a penalty shootout. Brazilian legends Romario and Bebeto dazzled throughout the tournament, and Captain Dunga lifted the trophy at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, Brazil's 4th World Cup title. FIFA and Roberto Baggio, Italy's golden ponytail, blazed his penalty over the crossbar. A moment frozen in time, the agony of the beautiful game. 1998. France. Les Bleus and a broken giant. France, 1998. The World Cup expanded to 32 teams for the very first time, the biggest stage the sport had ever seen. Japan made their debut. Debutant Croatia finished a stunning 3rd place, and the golden goal rule made its World Cup appearance, Laurent Blanc's strike ending. France's round of 16 clash against Paraguay-Brazil arrived as defending champions, led by the unstoppable Ronaldo, a man who had blazed through every game like a force of nature. But the night before the final, everything changed. Hours before kickoff, Ronaldo was hospitalized and nearly didn't play. His subdued performance is often cited as the primary reason for Brazil's devastating loss. Britannica France, inspired by the magnificent Zinedine Zidane, produced a commanding 3-0 victory over Brazil in the Paris final, claiming their first-ever World Cup title on home soil. FIFA David Beckham's controversial red card against Argentina earlier in the tournament made headlines across the globe as England bowed out on penalties. Britannica France united a nation. Zidane became a god, and the World Cup had found a new champion. Germany, 2006. The World Cup returned to Europe, to the nation that had built the modern game. 64 matches, 143 goals, an entire world watching. This was a tournament of tactical genius, flair, and one of the most shocking moments in football history. Zidane, France's maestro playing his final tournament, guided Les Bleus all the way to the final once more. But the moment the world still talks about came in extra time of the final, when Zidane, in his last professional match, headbutted Italy's Marco Materazzi, a red card, a farewell no one expected. Italy, composed, disciplined and deadly, held their nerve, and the 2006 final became only the second in history to be decided by a penalty shootout. Italy claimed their fourth World Cup title, and the streets of Rome exploded in celebration. The tournament's golden boot went to Germany's Miroslav Klose, a man who would 2002, South Korea and Japan. The first World Cup of Asia. For the first time in history, the World Cup traveled to Asia, and nothing would ever be the same. 2002 was the first World Cup co-hosted by two nations, South Korea and Japan, and it delivered some of the biggest shocks the tournament had ever seen. Senegal announced themselves to the world on day one, beating reigning champions France 1-0 in the tournament's opening match. Britannica South Korea, the co-hosts, went on an extraordinary run, defeating Spain, Italy, and Portugal to finish in fourth place. A nation erupted, an entire continent celebrated. But in the end, it was Brazil, and one man, who ruled the world. Ronaldo, haunted by the nightmare of 1998, returned with vengeance, scoring 8 goals to claim the Golden Boot and firing Brazil to a 2-0 win over Germany in the final. FIFA Brazil became the only nation to win the World Cup for a record 5th time, and the only team to have played in every single World Cup. Wikipedia Ronaldo's double in the final wasn't just a victory, it was redemption.